I called the police on my neighbors after they took our daughter to their New Year's party behind our backs. My husband, 41M, and I, 34F, moved to Spain when we first got married. Due to his job, we had our first child, 7F, there. He was later transferred to Japan where our other two kids, 5M and 2F, were born. His company then decided to move him back, but to a completely different city from where we previously lived after we had our fourth child, F 8 months. Needless to say, we understand the local culture, even though we're not from here. Our daughter started school this September, and many of her classmates live in the same area. One boy from her class lives just a few streets away. When we moved into the neighborhood last February, a few neighbors welcomed us warmly, including the boy's mother, who we'll call Ingrid. She took a strong liking to my baby, but most people love fussing over babies, so I didn't think much of it. That same day, she shared how she had lost 2 daughters and mentioned how lucky I was to have multiple girls since she only had 2 boys. The day after, she returned with her husband, who we'll call Lars. He also wanted to hold the baby and showered her with compliments until he met our eldest daughter and made a comment. At the time, I didn't think much of it, but he said our daughter and his son could easily be mistaken for twins as they were in the same class. Then things got weird. Over the next few weeks, Ingrid and Lars kept coming over unannounced, always asking to spend time with the kids. At first, I thought it was just the usual neighborly friendliness, but they started showing up almost every day. Ingrid began bringing gifts for my eldest daughter, clothes, toys, and even food, but nothing for my other children. She would insist on taking my daughter to the park or out for ice cream, sometimes without asking if it was okay beforehand. I appreciated the gestures, but started feeling uneasy when Ingrid made a remark one afternoon saying, "It feels like she's already part of our family." Then came New Year's Eve. We had no plans to celebrate and decided to have a quiet night at home. That evening, Ingrid knocked on the door, asking if our daughter could come to their family party just down the street. We politely declined, explaining that it was family time for us, and our daughter wanted to stay in. Ingrid didn't seem happy about it, but left without further argument. An hour later, we realized something was wrong. Our eldest daughter, who had been playing in her room, was suddenly nowhere to be found. I panicked. We searched the house, the backyard. Nothing. Then it hit us. We rushed to Ingrid and Lars's house where we saw our daughter inside, playing with their son at their New Year's party, completely unaware of the chaos back home. When we confronted Ingrid, she shrugged it off like it was no big deal. "She wanted to come over," Ingrid said with a dismissive smile. "I didn't see any harm. She fits in so well with us." That was the breaking point. We grabbed our daughter and left immediately. The next morning, we called the police. They visited Ingrid and Lars's home to question them. What they discovered was shocking. Ingrid had been telling people around the neighborhood that our daughter was actually her niece, sometimes even calling her our girl in conversations. They had created this whole fantasy about how close our families were, and it was clear that they had developed an unhealthy obsession with her, especially after losing their own daughters. Thankfully, the police warned them to stay away from our family, and we've taken additional steps to keep them at a distance. But even now, I can't shake the unease. I thought we had made friendly neighbors, but instead, we uncovered a disturbing obsession with our child that could have gone much further if we hadn't intervened. Anyways, what is your input on this? Did I overreact?